Hi everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
I'm Kathy.
So I have an unusual question to start things off today, Kathy.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a prison?
I've never broken the law. Why would I go to jail?
Oh, no, that's not what I mean.
Oh.
What I mean is, have you ever visited any places that were famous prisons, like on Green Island?
Oh, well, no, I have never visited places like that, but I have heard of prison in the Green Island. And this prison mainly accommodates the most difficult prisoners, which are hard to manage and teach. Have you, Pat?
Yeah, I've been to Alcatraz, a big famous prison which is on a little rocky island just in the San Francisco Bay. There's famous movies about people escaping from it and things like that. Now it's just a museum. It's no longer used as a prison. It's and you can kind of hear stories that they've recorded from like the guards and the prisoners, and they tell the stories of the famous criminals who were there, and the guy who used to feed the birds, and they will let you go in the cells, and they'll let you go in the kind of, when the prisoners were bad, they put them in like a dark room with no window, no door, and it's so small you can't really sit down. And they talked about what people would do in there, and they'll close the door on you for, just like 30 seconds so you can experience it. Yeah, it was a really interesting trip. I definitely recommend it to everyone who goes to San Francisco or that area to check it out. But these prisons were not very nice places to live. However, in Norway, prison is a little different. Let's read through today's article and find out more about how, and more importantly, why.
Reading.
Norway's prisons help rebuild broken lives. In most countries, prison is considered a place for punishment. However, Norway thinks of its jails as places to reform criminals. 20 years ago, Norway used the traditional approach to justice, simply putting prisoners behind bars. But it didn't seem to work, as about 65% of inmates would continue to commit crimes after they were released. So, prisons moved their focus away from punishment and toward rehabilitation, which has brought that number down to 20%. Norway's goal is to let inmates experience what a regular life is like while they're in prison. They are treated like part of a community, and they go jogging with the guards and take part in fitness classes. Violence is uncommon in Norway's jails, as inmates are kept calm within a good living environment. One prison is located in a forest and feels more like a university campus. More importantly, job training is offered. These measures help former criminals live useful lives after they are released from jail. Many inmates go on to become fully trained carpenters, mechanics, and chefs. Not only does this help them become better people, but also it has lowered Norway's crime rate. The success of this model shows how other countries could benefit by reforming their own prison systems.
The article begins by saying, in most countries, prison is considered a place for punishment.
Norway is different, though. The article says, however, Norway thinks of its jails as places to reform criminals.
So Norway is a country in the north of Europe, right up at the top. It's just across the sea from the UK, but it goes kind of all the way up until it's basically in the North Pole area.
And from that sentence, we get the idea that it's a place to reform criminals, to transform prisoners.
That's right. In the sentence, we saw the verb reform, and this means to change something in a way that makes it better. We could talk about reforming laws that are unfair so that they become more fair. When we talk about reforming people who are in jail, we mean helping them change their lives, their attitudes, their behavior, so they don't commit more crimes when they leave prison. And we can talk about other people in general reforming as well, not just prisoners. If a person reforms, they change the bad things about their life. So they might stop doing things that cause problems for themselves or cause problems for others. For example, in this sentence, Eddie got into trouble a lot as a teenager, but he reformed later in life and now he's kind and honest.
Good for him. 这边的 reform 指的是人的行为或是事物的结构进行改造或是改过。It's a word that has positive meanings, which means to change, to improve, to convert into a better person. 那这个字也很好记 re 就是重新的意思， form 是形成构造，合在一起就是改造。
Another word we saw in that last sentence is very important to this article. It's the noun criminal. A criminal is a person who breaks the law. We usually use it to mean somebody who has been proved of committing that crime in a court. So you're not really a criminal until the judge or the jury say, yeah, you're guilty. But we can use the word criminal fairly casually to mean anybody who is breaking a law, who is planning to break a law, to anyone who is doing any kind of crime. So here's an example sentence. The criminals robbed a bank and stole a great deal of money.
那另外呢，也有一个很重要的字名词是 criminal 罪犯，这个字也可以当形容词，意指犯罪的、犯法的。Robbery is a criminal act. 抢劫是犯罪的行为。So what do we learn about Norway's prisons?
Well, the article starts off by explaining how things were before. It says, 20 years ago, Norway used the traditional approach to justice, simply putting prisoners behind bars. So an approach is the way you do something. It's the method you employ for going about a particular activity, dealing with a particular problem, and so on. Think of teachers. Some teachers might take a strict approach, while others will be kinder or more patient. The traditional approach for dealing with people who break the laws is to punish them with prison or even death. Here's another example of talking about people's approach to things. Kyle's mom and dad take a relaxed approach to being parents. They don't give Kyle a lot of rules.
这边我们看到 approach 这个单字，这个字原本的意思是接近、靠近，而文章中的意思特别指处理或解决问题的方式跟态度。Approach to justice, approach 也有着手处理、开始对付的意思。例如 he approached to the question as a scientist. 他从科学家的角度来处理这个问题。
Now, in that sentence, we also saw the phrase behind bars, which means in jail. Traditionally, jail cells and prison cells had steel bars like a cage on the windows and doors to stop prisoners from getting out, but still giving them like air and light. Now, bars on jail cells are a lot less common these days as we have stronger glass available for prison cells. But I guess the older prisons probably still have some bars on them. And so when we say behind bars, it means you're behind those bars. You're basically like an animal in a cage.
Yes, behind bars 是英文当中用来形容坐牢在监狱中的状况哦。大家应该有看过电影中的监狱，大部分呢用这个铁棒或铁条做成的。所以你可以想象一个囚犯被关在里面，手呢抓着监狱中的那个铁棒的样子，就是 behind bars 的意思。
So this was what happened before. You committed a crime in Norway, they'd send you to prison. However, it didn't seem to work. The article says, but it didn't seem to work, as about 65% of inmates would continue to commit crimes after they were released. So the word inmate means a person who is held at a prison. We can also use the word for people who live in certain kinds of mental hospitals from which they're not allowed to leave.
Inmates 就是囚犯。文章接着说，但这样单纯只是把犯人关在监狱里面，似乎没有起到改造的作用，因为他们发现65%的罪犯在被释放之后还是会再违法。
Another important word from that last sentence was the verb commit. To commit an act means to carry out that action. You do that particular thing. We often use it with the word crime, and it is the correct verb to go with the noun. So it's just about okay to say do a crime in English, but it's not really the correct way. We would say commit a crime. Here's an example sentence for that. If you commit a serious crime, you might stay in prison for the rest of your life.
这里我们来看一个关键的字 commit， 意即犯罪或是做违法或错误的行为，所以自杀也会用这个字就是 to commit suicide。 commit suicide. So just simply putting people in prison and punishing them didn't solve the problem of people committing crimes.
Right, they would come out and they would do something again. And so Norway made a change. We see that. So prisons moved their focus away from punishment and toward rehabilitation, which has brought that number down to 20%. So that number is the number who commit crimes when they get out. Now here we use the word rehabilitation, and this is the act of giving people back their normal lives or a kind of normal life. And we use it to mean getting better after an illness. We could use it to mean recovering after a drug problem so you don't feel the need for the drugs anymore. But we also use it for getting criminals to change their ways and become kind of good people who follow the laws and do the right thing.
因此挪威把原本集中火力在处罚这件事情上呢，改变成囚犯改过自新，恢复正常的生活，让他们可以呢有一个新的生活哦。Rehabilitation 指的是病残的人的康复、更新，在这边特别指罪犯的改过迁善。
The article also used a grammar pattern called a non-defining relative clause, and this is used to add information that is useful but not necessary for a sentence. We often start a non-defining relative clause with a comma and a relative pronoun and use which when we're talking about a thing. We could use who for a person. We don't use that in these kind of clauses. So here in the article, we use the relative pronoun which to refer to a whole clause or sentence. So the which in the sentence in the article means moving their focus away from punishment towards rehabilitation, which this act brought down the number. Here's another example. It rained heavily on Sunday, which ruined our plans to have a picnic.
在刚刚这句句子当中呢，使用到一个文法关系代名词 which 的非限定用法，它的结构是主词加动词怎么样怎么样 which 怎么样。这个关系代名词 which 的非限定用法是用来补充说明先行词。那比较特别的是呢，这里的先行词是逗点之前的一整个句子，也就是说我们修饰的不只是一个物品，而是一整件事情。要切记此时 which 前面必须加逗号与先行词分隔。我们来造个句子 My computer is very slow, which makes it hard for me to work sometimes. 我的电脑很慢，有时呢让我很难做事。所以在这里先行词不是电脑，而是我的电脑很慢这件事情。
Back to the article where we learn more about Norway's modern prisons. It says, Norway's goal is to let inmates experience what a regular life is like while they're in prison.
Next, it says, they are treated like part of a community, and they go jogging with the guards and take part in fitness classes.
A community is a group of people who live together or a group that have something in common, like a belief, a particular hobby, it could be anything. So the prisoners here aren't treated like bad animals, but people who just happen to live together, like neighbors or students at the same university.
挪威新执行这个做法很特别哦。这里提到这些囚犯被对待的态度呢，就像是在对待一个群体一样，不只是呢被负面消极的关着，他们居然可以和警卫一起去慢跑啊，还可以参与健身课程。那这里的 community 指的是具归属感或认同感的社群团体， fitness 则解释为健康健壮，而 fitness class 就是健身课程。
We also saw the phrase take part in, which means to do something with other people and be included in this activity.
那 take part in 就是参加参与什么，和 join 的意思一样咯。
Next, the article describes what it's like in the prisons, saying, Violence is uncommon in Norway's jails, as inmates are kept calm within a good living environment.
This sounds good. And we also see in the article that one prison is located in a forest and feels more like a university campus.
And there's more. The article says, more importantly, job training is offered. This gives prisoners something else to do when they leave the jail, so some skills they can use to make a living, which should then stop them committing crimes again to get money.
I think this is even better than the real society out there. Well, our article goes on to explain why they do this. In the next paragraph, it talks about why these things are done. It says these measures help former criminals live useful lives after they are released from jail.
So the word measures means plans or courses of action that are taken to achieve a purpose. So think of the start of COVID-19 in Taiwan. The government here did things to stop the virus from spreading. And these were the measures it took. Closing schools, preventing some people from coming in, giving out medical equipment, stopping people buying all the masks. All of these we can call measures. And here's another example. The school took measures to prevent students from cheating on tests, such as taking away their phones.
Measure 有测量、计量的意思。那在这边的意思则指的是办法或是措施。文章这里提到这些措施，就是提供工作方面的训练啊、健身课程等等这些措施，帮助这些这个囚犯呢，在被释放之后可以拥有更好的生活。
The article then says many inmates go on to become fully trained carpenters, mechanics, and chefs. To go on to do something or be something means that this is what people do or become after a certain event or later in their lives.
Go on to do something 有在完成前一件事后，进而接着去做的意思。所以很多囚犯在经过这样的培训或是改变之后，接着成为受过训练的木匠、机械师和主厨。And one of the things prisoners become is mechanics.
A mechanic is a person who knows how to fix cars and other machines.
会修理机器与机械有关的这些人，我们称为技师、机械师 mechanic.Other inmates go on to become chefs.
A chef is a person who cooks for a job, usually in a restaurant, rather than just a food stand in a night market.
Chef 就是大厨、主厨。像国外有很多关于呢这类型的电视节目，像 Master Chef、Top Chef， 大家有兴趣呢也可以 check it out.And
this isn't only good for the prisoners. We see that not only does this help them become better people, but also it has lowered Norway's crime rate. Now here we use the grammar structure not only, but also, which is used for giving two results or consequences of something, or for saying two things about a subject. It's kind of a fancy way of saying and. So we could say, not only was Peter an excellent singer, but he could also play guitar.
这些措施不仅让他们变成更好的人，还让挪威的犯罪率下降了。这边我们使用的是 not only but also 这个句型呢是否定副词置于句首的倒装句之一，用来表达不止怎么样而且怎么样。那当 not only 置于句首的时候，其引导的子句呢需要倒装，也就是在前半句把助动词或 be 动词跟主词的顺序颠倒，但后半句 but also 的子句则维持原样。我们来举一个例子哦，原来的句子是I will not only fire Greg, but I'll also make sure he never works in this industry again. 倒装之后，把这个前半句的 not only 提到前面，主词跟动词顺序交换，而后半句维持不变。所以倒装句呢会变成这样 Not only will I fire Greg, but I'll also make sure he never works in this industry again. 我不只要把呢这个格瑞格炒鱿鱼，我还要确保他永远没办法再进到这一行。
Now, in that sentence, we also talked about the crime rate. A rate is a way of measuring something, often the frequency of something, and it's especially good for noting how things change over time. And it explains things like how often this thing happens, how common something is. And the key point about a rate is it's measured against something else, like number of crimes per 100 people, how many students pass an exam, and so on.A crime rate is likely the number of crimes reported over a period of time, like 1 month or 1 year. So we could say the pass rate for this driving test is 66%. That is, for every 2 people that pass it, 1 person fails.
在这边提到了犯罪率 rate 就是比率、比例的意思。另外这个字也有等级的意思哦。例如 She gave her children a first-rate education.他给他的孩子一流的教育。So, Norway's change seems to work then.
Yes, and that leads us to the conclusion of the article, which says, The success of this model shows how other countries could benefit by reforming their own prison systems.
最后一句这里的 model 有什么什么的典范，值得效仿的意思哦，值得效仿的方法的意思。We'll discuss a few more things about this system in today's For You Chat question, and it's time for that now.
For You Chat.
So our question is, what do you think about Norway's prison system? Do you think it's fair that criminals get to be comfortable when they're in jail?
Well, overall, I think Norway's prison system is fantastic and unbelievable. I mean, to carry out all these measures, which we just talked about, is not an easy job. It requires a lot of ideas and discussion before taking it into practice, and seeing it work is definitely confronting. However, to be a person living in the real society compared with the inmates who are well treated in jail, I find it hard to agree that it's fair because we have to work hard in order to get paid, and that's how we live on. However, some people may not even have better lives than these prisoners. They might have to work hard but can barely cover the payments for themselves or their family, while these inmates seem to have a comfortable life living in jail.
Yeah, I suppose you go, well, they have this, they can learn skills, they can get jobs, but
Yes.
they don't, what they lose is their freedom to have any kind of change. They eat what they're given. They can only go where they're allowed to go. They can't see people. They can't go, oh, you know what, I fancy a vacation, or I'm going to change my job, or I'm going to move abroad and look for a different opportunity, or I'm going to meet new people, form relationships, that kind of thing. So I suppose people are getting punished, but I suppose what's the point in punishing them with like horrible conditions when you're punishing them by taking away their freedom? If you were punished by horrible conditions, then I don't know, are you going to be that happy when you come out and immediately go, oh, I'm going to live a great life? Because you might just be really angry and unhappy about how things are gone. And many companies won't hire you because you've been in jail. You might have a very limited thing. So there are other kinds of punishment, and I suppose if we're doing all that, maybe you don't need to treat them badly as well. I think the proof is that so many other countries have such big, the rate for people who commit crimes again. So I think it's worth trying, but maybe not in the case of all prisoners. There's probably some, organized crime, murders, really bad stuff. I don't think those people should get any particularly great treatment. They've done really, really horrible things, and they don't necessarily deserve all this nice stuff. Yes. So maybe you have to grade it based on the kind of crime. I don't know. That's just my thought. But what do you think? Have a discussion amongst yourselves, guys, because that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for listening, everyone. For English for You, I'm Pat.
I'm Kathy.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Norway's prisons help rebuild broken lives. In most countries, prison is considered a place for punishment. However, Norway thinks of its jails as places to reform criminals. 20 years ago, Norway used the traditional approach to justice, simply putting prisoners behind bars. But it didn't seem to work, as about 65% of inmates would continue to commit crimes after they were released. So, prisons moved their focus away from punishment and toward rehabilitation, which has brought that number down to 20%. Norway's goal is to let inmates experience what a regular life is like while they're in prison. They are treated like part of a community, and they go jogging with the guards and take part in fitness classes. Violence is uncommon in Norway's jails, as inmates are kept calm within a good living environment. One prison is located in a forest and feels more like a university campus. More importantly, job training is offered. These measures help former criminals live useful lives after they are released from jail. Many inmates go on to become fully trained carpenters, mechanics, and chefs. Not only does this help them become better people, but also it has lowered Norway's crime rate. The success of this model shows how other countries could benefit by reforming their own prison systems.
Vocabulary Review. Reform. The government reformed the education system so that the country's students would learn in new and better ways. Criminal. The bank manager was discovered to be a criminal who had been stealing money from the customers' bank accounts. Approach. When dealing with angry students, the teacher uses a careful approach that includes listening to their problems and being kind. Commit. The scientist was fired from his job for committing too many serious mistakes. Measure. The company developed some new measures to control spending and stop employees from wasting money. Rate. The death rate of this disease is quite high. About 8% of its victims die.
智慧小补帖
Inmate. Rehabilitation. Community. Mechanic. Chef.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net